Greetings. Frederick Riddle here. Excuse me. With another issue of Christian News and Views. This is episode 261, and this is Monday. Well, the U.S. stock futures rose Sunday after U.S. and Chinese representatives agreed on a framework for a trade deal, potentially averting a tariff hike to 157% on Chinese goods, and as investors expect another interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve. Dow futures rather, were up 6,500% S&P 500 futures rose 7,400%, and Nasdaq futures climbed 9,200% as of 6:29 p.m. yesterday. The Dow closed above 47,000 for the first time Friday after September's consumer price index data showed annual inflation had heated up, but less than expected. The news boosted expectations that the central bankers will cut interest rates at the policy meetings this week. It was a positive sign for the market, which sold off after trade tensions revved up between the two global superpowers earlier this month. In Asia, major stock markets also responded positively to the news. We won't go through them, but Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index rose. South Korea's Kospi jumped. Hong Kong's Seng index was also trending up. President Donald Trump is expected to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping this Thursday in South Korea, wrapping up the U.S. president's diplomatic tour of Southeast Asia with one of America's most important trade partners. Relations between Washington and Beijing became strained after China announced it would ramp up export restrictions on critical rare earth minerals, which are used to make electronics such as satellites and consumer devices. Trump responded by threatening to ramp up duties an additional 100% over and above existing rates, to which Beijing threatened countermeasures against the United States. On Sunday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expressed optimism ahead of Xi and Trump's meeting in South Korea. I think we've reached a substantial framework for the two leaders who will meet next Thursday. The tariffs will be averted. So this week, let's see, let's move on here. Trump on Saturday indicated he was open to making some concessions, as he suggested a very good chance of making a very comprehensive deal. And of course, Bessent didn't provide any details of that, although he did say that he anticipates the U.S. would get some kind of deferral on rare earth export controls. The tariff war has had sprawling effects on the U.S. economy, from inflation to farmers and American businesses. The deal, which will likely be finalized when the leaders of the two global superpowers meet this week, is expected to include a break for farmers, particularly soybean farmers, who have been hit hard by the strained trade relationship. So actually, China hasn't purchased American soybeans since last May. And so that's one of the reasons there's problems. So here's my opinion. Well, you know, this is looking like another Trump success story. Reading between the lines and between all the words and everything, in my opinion, China has blinked. How many other presidents have caused China to blink? Zero, none, nada. It appears that soybean farmers have felt the so-called trade war the most. Personally, I avoid soybeans, including those that are processed to imitate meat. But there is a market for them, so it is good news that the soybean market may soon be on the rise once again. In my opinion, this is just typical Trump. He pushes out things and makes threats, and he follows them up if it need be. but he makes these threats up to raise things up. He's not shooting for that. He's shooting for down here. And so the other country, in this case, China, raises up and they at least hit here. Well, more often than not, they're a little bit over. And I think that's what happens once again. China made a lot of noise, but in the end, they're meeting to and have some kind of an agreement apparently in place. And so that's good news. I don't know if any other president could have pulled that off. And I have my favorites, but they were good presidents, strong presidents, but he is strong in a particular area that they may not have been strong in. Meanwhile, the Schumer shutdown continues. The wily senator may survive this blunder, but will he ever be effective again? I find that hard to believe, to even imagine. He's responding primarily to the threat of the far, far left not being satisfied with him, and then they'll put up a candidate that will then kick him out and take his place. And there's speculation that AOC might be that candidate. She's a representative right now, and she's playing it cool. I think she is waiting to pounce. It'll be a different. She's quite a character, not very, and she's very smart, by the way, just not very wise. Big difference between the two. And so that's going to be interesting. If she becomes the candidate to replace Schumer, that might be a position that will, or her election. I am not sure that is even a possibility. It may be, but people are being turned off by the far, far left. And I think there's going to be a lot of Democratic seats that are vacated and replaced by Republican seats in the coming elections. Well, a little bit early to say all that, but that's my feelings at the moment. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been another area looking at the news. And for the most part, it seems to be pretty positive. It's a good way to start the week off. Well, I hope I've informed you, encouraged you, and inspired you. Those are the three things I always try to do. And hopefully I have at least one of those. All three is what I shoot for. Well, you have a great day. And don't forget, if you have the opportunity and haven't done it yet, please feel free to subscribe to TR Independent Books channel. And there you'll get all the different podcasts that I put out. And you'll encourage me in the process. I look at that as something I see every day. And so that whenever anybody subscribes, those numbers climb, that makes me happy. Another thing I always check is comments. If you want to have a comment on something, feel free to do so. All I ask for you, keep it civil. You're free to disagree or agree, whichever you want. Well, you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.